This is the plaintiff, Kalawale Fagbone. He says the defendant's a former friend of his who claims he was robbed of the money he gave him to purchase a car. The guy's story is as bogus as they come. He doesn't believe the defendant was robbed for a minute, and he's here to recover the $3,636 he's owed. This is the defendant, Guebrina Zampaligre. He says the plaintiff sent him money for a car through MoneyGram, and when he exited the bank with the cash, he was robbed by 3 men at gunpoint. He called the cops immediately afterward. They wrote up a report, and there's an ongoing investigation. Since he was doing the plaintiff a favor and did nothing wrong, the cops told him he owes nothing. He's accused of an inside job.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket. The plaintiff says the defendant stole money that he gave him to buy a car, and he's pretending that he was robbed. But the defendant says he was truly robbed by 3 dudes at gunpoint. It's the case of stick 'em up. You're being sued.
Thank you, Douglas. Mr. Fagbone, you are suing Mr. Zampaligre for $3,636, money that you sent him, MoneyGram fees, and your flight to straighten it out. Because according to you, he is responsible for your money, and according to you, you were robbed and it was taken from you. Why were you sending him money?
Well, I actually saw a car on Craigslist that I was going to buy in New York, but I was in Chicago.
Okay.
So I needed somebody to help me pick up the car, to help me go to the seller's place.
How did you know him?
He bought a laptop from me, and then he lives about 4 to 5 blocks away from me, and since then he has been my friend.
Oh, okay. So you were friends. He's not just some guy you sold a laptop to. Okay. So then what happened?
So I said, I called him on the 11th to ask him if he could help me get the car in Brooklyn, and he said yes. And then on the 12th, I sent him the money in the morning.
The 12th of what?
12th of November.
Okay.
So he went to the seller's place, checked out the car, and told me there was something wrong with the car. I said, what? He said the back bumper has a scratch. Then he also mentioned that the engine, there's something leaking in the engine. So I told him, can I speak with the seller? He said, yes. I asked the seller said, no, there was nothing wrong with the engine. It's just the bumper scratch.
Okay.
So I told the seller if he's going to take $3,200, and he agreed. So he gave the phone back to him. Then after some minutes, he called me back and told me they won't let him take the car with the license plate. They have to take off their own license plate number. That they're going to bring the car to him later around evening. Then I told him it's fine. So he said he's going to go now with the seller to pick up the money and pay the seller.
Were you going to pay him a fee for all the trouble he was going through?
We didn't agree.
Or he was just doing this as a friend?
He was doing this as a friend.
Okay, go on.
So later on, around 5, the seller texted me to ask me for his address, that they are on their way to drop off the car. Then I replied back and gave them the address and text him also that they just asked for your address. He never replied. 5 minutes later, the seller texted me back that, what's your friend saying? He just said he got robbed and told them to come to a station or somewhere without giving them an address. Then I tried to call him, he didn't pick up his call. I texted him, he didn't reply. Then I tried to call back again, then he turned off his phone.
They turned off his phone.
So I spoke with the seller and told them they should give me some time to get to him and all that I'll speak with him and see what we can do about it. Then he never called me back. He called me around 10 p.m. from another number. He asked me, did the cops call you? I said, no. Why would I have to get a call from the cops? Then he said, he got robbed. So I said, you got robbed? Then I smiled and said, how did this happen? And he said, well, he got robbed. And when I smiled, he said, so what are you going to do? I said, I'm not going to do nothing. It's bedtime. I'm just going to take a shower and go to sleep. So he was trying to fight with me over it. And I calmed him down and told him, listen, this is my money here. I should be the one fighting. Why are you fighting me? Then I asked him on the phone that, where are you? So where, as in, whose number is it? He said he's calling me from home phone, a landline from home. So he gave me a detective's number and told me that is the detective in charge of the case, that the cops came around, they checked all around. They told him they're going to check the camera the next day to find the guys
that happened?
Robbed him.
I was supposed to see the car and give the seller the money. And
how did you get the money?
I got the money through MoneyGram.
So you picked up the money at MoneyGram?
I live in the Bronx. I told him send the money in the Bronx so I can pick it up. I don't know Brooklyn. He sent the money always by Coney Island on Avenue 18. He say, that's where I'm going to meet the seller. I don't know the seller. He say, once you get there, call this number.
Okay, so what did you do? You drove to Brooklyn?
I took the train to Brooklyn. When I got there, I was standing. I called the guy, and the guy, he came.
Wait, when you meet the seller of the car, do you have the money?
I didn't have the money on.
Okay, so you look at the car.
I look at the car, and there was a scratch in the back, and also is something that was leaking. And then I told him that, okay, your car is fine, inside is good, there's a bump. We even take the picture. You have the picture.
Don't talk to him directly. Go ahead.
We take the picture, and then we send it to him. He say, so give me the phone to the guy. And then they talk.
Did you tell him something about a leak?
I told him it's leaking, but if you want, you can talk to him because you guys already made an arrangement.
Okay, so...
He told me, give the phone to the seller. I want to talk to him.
All right, so he talks to the seller, and then what happens?
He told us, talk to the seller, and the seller said, go take the money and then give it to him. I said, okay, fine. Come with me. We're going to go.
Stop. So the seller goes with you where?
We're looking for a MoneyGram. That's how we send the money.
Right.
And then we went together. The seller was outside with his friend. So I'm on the line trying to take the money. So the seller came in and they told me, oh, no, I have to go to work. I said, wait, I'm on the line. I'm the next person to take the money. Why can't you wait? He said, no, I have to go. My wife has to drive me to work. After work, I'm going to come back in the Bronx, give you the car, take the money. I'm like, okay, it's no problem.
So you're standing at MoneyGram, you get the money,
and then the guy
you got $3,200.
Excuse me?
$3,200?
I got $3,200. This is the receipt. And then the guy, he left. I said, okay. I took the money on my way back. Three guys was following me. It was on Avenue 18. That's where I was going to take the D train. I live in the Brooklyn.
It was what?
On Avenue 18 in Brooklyn.
Avenue 18.
In Brooklyn. So once I get there, they came right after me, three guys. And then say, hey, where you going? I'm like, say, what's up? He said, what you got? I'm like, I don't have anything. And so three of them, they circled me. So one of them took up the gun. It was a small gun. I explained everything to the police. They say, I say, I don't have anything. And then the churchman say, okay, wait, what you got? And then they put a hand on my pocket. They took the money. They didn't take my cell phone. They didn't take my wallet, nothing at all. And then they crossed the street and they started running. I tried to follow them. And then while I was following them, I was on the phone with the cops. The cops came right away. And then we look around, he was gone. And then I called the dealer because he was gone. I said, so where are you? He never replied. I left him a message.
The seller of the car?
The seller of the car. He never picked up the call. At that time, I think he said he was in contact with him. And then I was with the cops for 2 hours. We went to the police. Then
do you have police report?
I have the police.
Show me all the police records.
No, they say since it's a robbery case, I have to get a police report from the detective. They only can give me.
And did you get it?
I called the detective and I couldn't get him. They say once he get back, they're gonna give me. He's gonna come back and I'm gonna come see him. I told the police at the precinct to call him. They called him. He never picked up. So on my way home, I got off on 125th at my friend's house and I was charging my phone and I called him and explained him the story. You did get hurt? He said, no, nothing. I said, nothing happened. They took the money. They didn't take my cell phone, nothing. I'm going to send you another money. I'm going to send the money to the guy, to the dealer, not you anymore. I'm going to send the money to the dealer. All you got to do, go pick up the car. I'm like, yeah, what about the money I just got robbed? He said, no, don't worry about it because I really need the car.
Do you go there the next day?
Because I trusted him. I went there even with my friend. So once I get there, I waited for half an hour. I'm calling. And then he texted me, the dealer said he's coming. I never saw him. Like 20 minutes later, he showed up with his friend.
Who did?
Him.
Which you didn't expect.
I didn't.
You thought you were picking up the car.
I picked him the car.
What you had done is you decided to come from Chicago directly.
Yeah.
So what ends up happening? You come in from Chicago.
Yeah.
You see him and then you call the police?
I didn't call the police. I told him I'm here to get my money.
Then he says, I don't have your money, I was robbed.
He got hungry and said he doesn't have the money.
Okay. Did the police verify for you that he had called in a robbery?
No, nobody verified anything.
Your Honor, he was with his friend. We went to the police. The police recognized me when I get there. They say, okay, yes, you got robbed. But since it's a robbery case, the case will be the detective.
Did the police say that in front of him?
He was there with his friend.
Did the police say that in front of him?
No, he went to the policeman. They couldn't produce
Your
anything.
Honor,
But this is very simple. I'll just call the police department and find out whether there was a robbery reported or not.
With the case number, you can find in the police report was followed.
Yeah, now that doesn't tell me that you really got robbed. You could, of course, have called in a robbery and it didn't happen and you stole the money. Or you could have been robbed by the very seller who knew you were walking out of the MoneyGram with money. money. Or,
hold on.
wait a second, I'm
She's working.
theorizing here. Or there are people who literally stand outside the MoneyGram waiting for suckers to walk out who just got their money and they pounce on them. There's so many different variables. What do you think happened?
I think this guy he knows what happened. Either he set me up or the dealer knows what happened between.
Yeah, but that's a hell of a thing to do. I mean, so he gives you $3,200 to do a transaction, then he steals it from you, and then he goes to sue you?
Yes, because this guy, that's what he does. He doesn't work.
That's I mean, honestly, the kind of effort that goes into that and the risk factor of not winning in court that's no way to make money. I like my theories better.
I do.
But in any event, hand me the police report number, please.
Yes.
The case number.
Court is in recess.
All rise.
If this defendant was really robbed, is he responsible to pay the plaintiff back?
He definitely is. It's almost like if you got a mortgage to the bank and you lost your job, you're still responsible to pay the mortgage back. So even though that he got it and he lost the money, he's still responsible to pay that person back.
Is that right? Do you see it the way he sees it?
Yeah, definitely.
Really? Does anybody disagree? Disagree?
No.
He has to pay it back.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk later. Going inside the courtroom.
According to you, the police had no idea what he was talking about.
They didn't verify anything.
Yeah, but when we get there, the police told me, okay, call this number. The detective gonna be able to see.
Did you ever call after that in order to try to see the police report?
I had to leave New York that day, so I went back.
Okay.
Because he was not ready to.
Did you ever talk to the seller again?
I didn't talk to the seller. The last
On that day, did you talk to the seller about that situation? That day when you flew in from Chicago?
I told the seller that I was trying to get my money, that if the car is still available after I get my money, I'll get to them. But if it's not, fine, I'll look for another one.
Let me ask you a question. If the guy's going to rob you, why does he go through the trouble of looking at the car and telling you about bumper problems and telling you about all the other stuff?
And, Your Honor, I even had to leave my job the day I was supposed to go see a car. I had to leave my job early to just be able to go and then look at the car for him. And I was going to even get myself in trouble because I was trying to resist with these people that were trying to rob me. I even ran after them, and then there's a couple of ladies that over there said, no, don't go, don't leave them. Let them go. I was going to even. So what really pissed me off is just that he didn't believe the incident that happened. He said, I took his money. What happened?
Everybody stop talking. Let me tell you what the law is. When you're having somebody buy a car for you, he is what's considered in the eyes of the law an agent. He is your agent in this transaction. You're the principal, he's the agent. If the agent has the principal's money and he acts outside the scope of his agency and something happens to the money, it's the agent's fault. If he acts within the scope of his agency and something happens to the money, it's not the agent's fault. What does that mean? He gets the money from MoneyGram, and then he goes on a trip and the money's, he gets drunk and money's falling out of his pocket. That's outside the scope of the agency. But when you're acting within the scope of the agency, which is he's doing everything you know he's going to do, which is he stands at MoneyGram, he gets the money, and then he walks out of MoneyGram and he gets robbed on the way back to the Bronx, there's nothing in that train that's outside the scope of the agency. So I have to say to myself, okay, I've heard his story, I've heard yours. Unless you can persuade me that he's out and out making up the robbery, that's the only way you get that money back in this court of law. What about your case has persuaded me of that? I called the police. There was a robbery under that case number. That's this robbery. He could be making it up anyway and still calling it in. But I'm not getting that vibe. I have to be honest with you. He's telling you about a scratch here. He's meeting you the next day. If he had pocketed the money, why would he go meet you so you could either beat the bejesus out of him or get him arrested? He doesn't act like a guy who stole your money. So you don't have the evidence to overcome that threshold of having me say he's a liar. Therefore, in this case, I find in favor of the defendant. That's my ruling.
Thank you.
So the plaintiff comes out first. The defendant has won this case. What's your feeling on the outcome here?
Well, I thought I was going to get my money back, but according to the law, she said I can get it back, and it's fine.
No. What did he do wrong?
Well, he didn't do anything wrong other than when he called me to tell me that he was robbed, he was trying to fight with me over the phone. Then when I got to New York, he was still trying to fight me over the phone. But whether he got robbed or not, I thought I was going to get my money back, but I don't know.
Well, if he did get robbed, and you know, like he says he did, then in that case, he was just acting on your behalf. He was trying to follow your rules according to the law. So what did he do wrong?
Oh, he did nothing wrong.
All right. Well, good luck next time.
Thank you.
All right. Head right out there. How do you feel about coming out now?
I mean, I mean, I'm happy about what happened, and actually, and I learned a lesson from that. You know, not to really, you know, trust people, and then not to risk my life for nothing, because I could have got killed for nothing. You know, so basically.
Well, there's a saying that goes, maybe you can finish it. Nice guys finish last.
Last, yeah, that's what
That's
really,
how the saying goes.
I guess
Sometimes it's true,
I guess that's what really.
but not
happened.
always.
Not always, but in this case, that's true.
Harvey?
The bottom line here is the defendant is only responsible if he was negligent, and you're not negligent when somebody robs you. That will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.